Okay, so once again, our topic for today is about control structure, no? Specifically, of course, the if conditional statement and control structure. Okay, so good day everyone. Today we're going to discuss control structure and loops in PHP. Okay, so I will show you how to use all the main control structures that are supported in PHP, like if else, for each, while, and more. So, what is a control structure? In simple terms, a control structure allows you to control the flow of code execution in your application. Generally, a program is executed sequentially, line by line, and the control structure allows you to alter that flow, usually depending on certain condition. The control structures are core features of the PHP language that allows your script to respond differently to different inputs or situation. And this could also allow script to give different responses based on user input, file contents, or some other data. Now, so the following flowchart explain how a control structure works in PHP. So as you can see in this diagram, first a condition is checked. No? If the condition is true, the conditional code will be executed. The important thing to note here is that code execution continues normally after conditional code execution. So let's consider the following example. No? So in this example, the program checks whether or not the user is logged in. So based on the user's login status, they will be redirected to either the login page or the My Account page. In this case, a control structure ends code execution by redirecting users to a different page. So this is a crucial ability of the PHP language, no? So of course, PHP supports a number of different control structure as I mentioned earlier, such as if, else if, switch, while, do while, for each, and others. So let's take a look of a few this control structure with example. So we learned the basic of control structure in PHP and their usefulness in application development. So we will go through a couple of important control structures that you'll end up using frequently in your day-to-day applications. Now, so PHP if statement. Okay, the if construct allows you to execute a piece of code if the expression provided along with it evaluates to true. So let's have a look at this example to understand how it actually works. So this example should output the your age is greater than 30 message since the expression evaluates to true. In fact, if you want to execute not only a single statement, the above example can be rewritten without brackets as shown in the following snippet. Okay? So as what we have here at the bottom. Okay? So on the other hand, if you have more than one statement to execute, you must use brackets as shown in this example. This one. So as you can see here, we are now using the if, no? This is what we call brackets, no? So we use bracket if we have more than one statements. Okay, so how about the PHP else statement? In the previous discussion, no, we discussed the if construct, which allows you to execute a piece of code if the expression evaluates to true. On the other hand, if the expression evaluates to false, it won't do anything. So more than that, you also want to execute a different code snippet if the expression evaluates to false. That's where the else statement comes into the picture. You always use the else statement in conjunction with an if statement. Basically, you can define it as what we have here, no, in our example. Okay, so this will be the first example, and let's revise the previous example to understand how it works. Na? So actually, this if expression is a syntax using if-else statement. But for us to understand it better and how we'll be able or to understand how it works, so this will be the example. So for example, our variable is age, of course, is equal to 50, for example. Then if age is less than 30, begin echo your age is less than 30. Then end. Else begin is echo your age is greater than or equal to 30. End. Then closing tag for PHP. So when you have two choices and more, and one of them must be executed, you can use the if-else construct. Okay? How about the PHP else if statement? Okay? So we consider the else if statement as an extension to the if-else construct. So if you've got more than two choices to choose from, you can use the else if statement. Okay? So let's study the basic structure of the else if statement. So we have here the syntax of else if statement. So as you can see here, it's too different from the previous programming language, especially for Java, C, C++, because this time, else if is written in one word. Now, rather than other programming language, it's written separately. Okay? So we have a syntax here, and following the syntax, no, we have a real word example. Okay? So as you can see in the above example, or with this given example, no, so age is less than 30, echo your age is less than 30, else if age is greater than, and now we are now using the end, no, end command. That is under conditional operator. Okay? Then we have multiple conditions, right? Because we have echo 1, echo that is age less than 30. Then we have also the between 30 to 40. And you have also greater than 50 and so on. Okay? So we've used a series of else if statements, right? And the event that all if conditions evaluate to false, it execute the code provided in the last else statement. So if, for example, if your inputted value is not within these three first conditions, so therefore the output will be your age is greater than 50. Okay? Now, actually, this is also a sort of review because last meeting we already had a discussion about if, else, switch, and so on. Now, the switch statement is somewhat similar to the else if statement which we've just discussed in the previous last meeting. The only difference is the expression which is being checked. No? So in the case of the else if statement, you have a set of different conditions and an appropriate action will be executed based on a condition. On the other hand, if you want to compare a variable with different values, you can use the switch statement. So as usual, an example is the best way to understand the switch statement is here. So as what we have here. So favorite underscore site is equal to code. So switch. So since our variable is the favorite underscore site, so this will be the switch name, okay? Or variable for that. So for example, case business, eco my favorite is business.toothplus.com, and so on and so forth. Okay? But at the last part, this will be the default. No, I like everything at toothplus.com. Okay? And as you can see in this example, we want to check the value of the favorite underscore site variable. And based on the value of the favorite underscore site variable, we want to print a message. So for each value you want to check with the favorite underscore site variable, you have to define the case black, no? And if the values is matched with a case, the code associated with that case black will be executed. So after that, you need to use the break statement to end a code execution. If you don't use the break statement, script execution will be continued up to the last block in the statement. And of course, finally, if you want to execute a piece of code, if the variable's value doesn't match any case, you can define it under the default block. Of course, it's not mandatory. It's just a way to provide a default case. So that's the story of conditional control structure, and it's already discussed last meeting. And I will already give you some hands-on activity regarding the switch statement. Now, how about loops in PHP? Again, in PHP, loops are useful when you want to execute a piece of code repeatedly until a condition evaluates to false. So code is executed repeatedly as long as a condition evaluates to true. And as soon as the condition evaluates to false, the script continues executing the code after the loop. Okay? So as what we have here, no, as you can see in these screenshots, in this figure, no, a loop contains a condition. So if the condition evaluates to true, the conditional code is executed. So after execution of the conditional code, control goes back to the loop condition and the flow continues until the condition evaluates to false. So of course, we have the different types of loops supported in PHP, right? So the while loop is used when you want to execute a piece of code repeatedly until the while condition evaluates to false. Okay, so based on the given example here, as what we have here, we have a while expression. This will be the syntax for while statement. Then let's have a look at the real world example to understand how the while works in PHP. Okay, so as what we have here, so for example, the variable max is equal to 0, echo variable I is equal to 0, then echo j is equal to 1. So echo result is equal to 0. So while max is less than 10, then it will execute the value here. So take note, it means to say that this loop end, no, from 0 to 9 because that is less than 10, right? Okay, by the way, no, if you're familiar with the PHP or if you are familiar with Fibonacci series, right, you might recognize that the above program or the given program does, no, it outputs the Fibonacci series of the first 10 numbers. So the while loop is generally used when you don't know the number of iteration that are going to take place in a loop. Okay, so this will be the example of a Fibonacci series. Now, how about the do while loop? The do while loop is very similar to the while loop, of course, with the only difference being that the while condition is checked at the end of the first iteration. Thus, we can guarantee that the loop code is executed at least once, no, irrespective of the result of the while expression. Let's have a look at the syntax of the do while loop. Okay, so as what we have here. So this will be the do, begin, the code to execute, while, then end. So we have here an example. So, of course, based on the given example, no, we're trying to read a file line by line. Okay. Firstly, we've opened a file for reading. In our case, we're not sure if the file contains may content at all or contains any content at all. Thus, we need to execute the fgets functions at least once to check if a file contains any content. So we can use the do while loop here. No, do while evaluates the condition after the first iteration of the loop. Okay? How about the for loop statement? No? Generally, the for loop is used to execute a piece of code a specific number of times. So in other words, if you already know the numbers of times you want to execute a block of code, it's the for loop which is the best choice. Okay? So let's have a look at the syntax of the for loop statement. So as what we have here, we have for expression 1 semicolon, expression 2 semicolon, expression 3 semicolon. Begin, code to execute, then end. So the expression 1 is used to initialize variables. So for example, sum is equal to 0 or a is equal to 0 or a is equal to 10 and so on. And it's always executed. No? So the expression 2 is also executed at the beginning of a loop. And if it evaluates to true, the loop code is executed. For example, a is equal to 0, a is greater than or equal to 20. Na? So after execution of the loop code, the expression tree is executed. Generally, the expression tree is used to alter the value of the variable which is used in the expression 2 expression. So let's go through the following example to see how it works. So the this output or this program, I mean, no, the square of the first 10 numbers, it initialize $I or the variable I to 1 as what we have here, no? Based on what we have here. So we have a, of course, the first, the opening tag of PHP. Then for I is equal to 1. This will be our initialization. Then I less than or equal to 10. This will be our what? Condition. And of course, this one is our iteration. So plus plus $1, dollar I, that's our variable. Okay? So again, this outputs the square of the first 10 numbers. So it initializes I to 1, repeats as long as I is less than or equal to 10, and adds 1 to $I at each iterations. Okay? How about for each statement? The for each loop is used to iterate over array values. No? If you have an array variable and you want to go through each element of that array, the for each loop is the best choice. So let's have a look for a couple of examples as what we have here. Okay? So if you want to access array value, so we have an array values here, no, apple, banana, orange, grapes, no? You can use the first version of the for each loop as shown in the above example, as the given example. On the other hand, if you want to access both a key and a value, you can do it as shown in the employee example. No? So we have here the fruits, at the bottom is the employee. So under employee, we have name, age, and of course the profession. Now, breaking out of the loop. There are times when you might want to break out of a loop before it runs its course. No? This can be achieved easily using the break keyword. No? It will get you out the current for each, while, do while, or switch structure. You can also use break to get out of multiple nested loops by supplying a numeric argument. So for example, using break tree will break you out of three nested loops. However, you cannot pass a variable as the numeric argument if you are using a PHP version greater than or equals to 5.4. So we have here an example, of course. So another keyword that can interrupt loops in PHP is continue. However, this only skip the rest of the current loop iteration instead of breaking out of the loop altogether. So just like break, you can also use a numerical value with continue, no, to specify how many nested loops it should skip for the current iterations. So this will be an example of a simple continue. Okay, so that's it. And later is I will give you a hands-on example of this discussion. So okay, so this will be the hands-on application of our discussion a while ago. So good day everyone. So to continue our discussion, so this time we're going to have a discussion about actually hands-on activities, no, regarding the control structure. So again, I just want to reiterate once again that a control structure allows you to control the flow of code execution in your application. So a program is executed sequentially line by line, and control structure allows you to alter that flow usually depending on a certain condition. The control structure are core features of the PHP language that allows you script, no, to respond differently to different inputs or situation. So this could allow your script to give different responses based on user input, file contents, or some other data. Okay, so we have an example here. Based on the given example, no? Actually, we have already this example about if statement last time or last meeting. But I just want once again to review, no? Before we may proceed to the looping statement. So as what we have here, no? We have a code that t is equal to time, no? Or date, I mean, that if $t is less than or equal to 20, then have a good day. Else, have a good night. So for us to find out the output of this code, no? So example, so that is the same as if.php. Then press enter, sorry. Of course, don't forget to save your work in our htdoc folder. And don't forget to run the sum control. Okay? So before we're going to run a PHP program, it is always required to us, no, to run the Apache and MySQL under sum control panel. Okay? So again, we need to have a web browser, right? For us to uh, run the program. So so as you can see here, my file name is f1.php. So therefore, have a good day. How about example number 2 or f number 2? So this time, no, we are now using if else if, no? So the file name is if2, then press enter. So have a good day also. Now, how about the other example? So we have F3 this time. So a while ago we discussed about the sample, no? Sample about if statement, no? So as what we have here, this example, no, should output the your age is greater than 30 message since the expression evaluates to true. So if you want to execute only a single statement, this example can be written without bracket as shown in this example. So we don't have bracket, no. So this time I just want to display on how will be so what will be the output of this code. So F3, then press enter. So your age is greater than or equal to 30. Okay? So how about another example? So we have here an example of an age, no? So if age is equal to 50, if age is less than 30, your age is a less than 30. Else if. So this time, a while ago, we just simply use if. This time, else if. Okay? Now, as you can see in this example, we have multiple conditions, right? Now, so we're use a series of else if statement. So in the event that all if conditions evaluate to false, it execute the code provided in the last else statement. So as what we have here, no? So F4, so what will be the output? So if for our file is if 4, so therefore your age is greater than 50. Why? Because as you can see here, we declare that the age is 50. So how about if we change this one into 28? Okay, so file save. Again, if you edit some codes, don't forget to save, no? Always save your file, okay? So same, then press enter. So as you can see, your age is less than 30. So it depends upon to your inputted value with the age, no? So for example, if I inputted 38, no? File save. Then we're going to run once again. So the output is your age is between 30 and 40. Okay? So as you can see, no, we have multiple conditions now based on the given example as I mentioned, no? So we've used a series of else if, no, statements. In the event that all if condition evaluate to false, it execute the codes provided in the last else statement. So as what we have here, we have else if here, no, we have another else if, and the last of course is the else. Okay? How about this one? Because commonly, even with C language, with C++, our professor, no, give us an example about a computation of your grades. No? So therefore, this will be a sample program if you wanted to find out if you pass or failed based on the given input prelim, midterm, and finals. So as what we have here, no, save as grades.php. So if we're going to run this code, again, as you can see here, we embed PHP codes into HTML codes, no, or tags. So the file name is grade.php. Then press, sorry. So the exact file name, sorry. That is grades.php. So in running your program, see to it that you type correctly, no, the file name of your PHP code. Okay? So that's it. So for example, if I'm encoded 90, 95, 90, then compute. So as you can see here, your grade is 91.666, so and so on and so forth. Congratulations, you are passed. How about if we inputted failing grade? So 72, compute as you can see 72.66. Sorry, you are failed. Okay? Now, another example of by this time a switch statement. Okay? So, of course, no, the switch statement, no, is somewhat similar to else if statement which we've just discussed a while ago. So the only difference is the expression which is being checked. No? In the case of the else if statement, you have a set of different conditions and an appropriate action will be executed based on the conditions. On the other hand, if you want to compare a variable with different values, you can use the switch statement. So as usual, an example is the best way to understand the switch statement. That's why we have here an example. Now, as you can see in this example, we want to check the value of the favorite site, no, variable. So the base and based on the value of the favorite site variable, we want to print a message. So for each value you want to check with the favorite site variable, you have to define the case block. So as what we have here, we have case business, no, case code, case web design, case music, case photograph, and so on. Okay? So then if the value is matched with the case, the code associated with that case block will be executed. After that, you need to use the break statement to end the code execution. So as you can see here, right after echo, we need to use the command break. Okay? So we have break, break, and so on. So if you don't use the break statement script, execution will be continued up to the last block in the switch code. So if you want to execute a piece of code, if the variable's value doesn't match any case, you can define it under the default block. So that's why we have here the default. So it means to say that if you don't want to, if the compiler doesn't able to see the true, no, so what we're going to do is to display the default. Okay, so it's not mandatory. Actually, the default is not mandatory. No, it's just a way to provide a default case. So the control structure, of course, under conditional statement, one is the switch statement. Okay, so based on the given example, if we wanted to run, since we are looking for a code, so therefore we are looking forward that if we're going to run the program, this will be the output, right? So we are looking for, my favorite site is code.qtplus.com. So the file name is switch1.php. So we replace this one. Sorry, switch1.php and press enter. So therefore, my favorite site is codeplus.com. So we just try to replace. For example, instead of code, we type music. No? So we're looking forward that the output must be, my favorite site is music.qtplus.com. Okay, but of course, don't forget to save since we changed some codes and we're looking forward for a new output instead of that code.qtplus. Then since we saved it already, enter. So this time, my favorite site is music.qtplus.com. Okay, but if we wanted, for example, to display the default, so for example, we put this one, me. Okay, so file save. Okay, then I just want to execute, then press enter. So therefore, I like everything at qtplus.com. This will be the default echo, right? So therefore, so if the compiler doesn't encounter the define, no, the define the value for your variables, so therefore it display the default echo. Okay. Another example for switch, of course, as you can see here, fave color, no. So of course, my favorite color is yellow. That's why I'm always using yellow. Sorry for that. Okay. Now, so of course, file save. So we save it. That is switch.php. Okay. So if we're going to run, you just remove one, then press enter. So therefore, your favorite color is neither red, blue, nor green. Why? Because we don't have yellow here, right? Because our assigned switch for fave color is red, blue, green. And the default is your favorite color is neither red, blue, or nor green. Then our constant or declared value for fave color is yellow. So since we don't have yellow here, therefore the compiler display the default one. So how about if we may replace this one as red? Okay. So file save. Then of course, we are going to execute. Once again, then your favorite color is red. Okay? Another example, how about this one? That is payroll, actually. I gave it already last time. That is also an if-else statement, no? But I just want, of course, to execute once again this one. So payroll.php. Okay, so Marmel Abante, section 2.1, subject is WST, gender is male. For example, number of hours work is 150. Rate per hour, for example, is 800, no? Then compute. So as you can see here, it displayed the name, the section, the subject, the gender. So 12%, 120,000 ang gross pay. Tax is 14,400. This is 12,000. So the deduction is 26,400 because 14 plus 12 is 26,400. Then, of course, for us to get the net pay, gross pay minus deduction, total deduction. Therefore, your net pay is 93,600 and you are an administrator. So based on the given codes, no? That's it. So actually, we define that the tax is 12% of gross pay, and for SSS is SSS 8%, 8% from the gross pay. Now, this time we may proceed to the looping. Okay? Now, loop in PHP are useful when you want to execute a piece of code repeatedly until a condition evaluate to false. Okay? So, code is executed repeatedly as long as a condition evaluates to true. And as soon as the condition evaluates to false, the script continues executing the code after the loop. Okay? So, the first loop statement is the while loop. Okay? So, as what we have here now, so while loop is used when you want to execute a piece of code repeatedly until the while condition evaluates to false. So as what we have here, no? So I will give you a code for this. So this one, okay. Actually, if you are familiar with the Fibonacci series, you might recognize what is the program does. No, it outputs the Fibonacci series for the first 10 numbers. No, the while loop is generally used when you don't know the number of iterations that are going to take place in a loop. Okay, so the file name is loop 1. So we just try to calculate to run the said PHP code. That is loop 1. No, press enter. So as you can see here, that is 0 plus 1, 1. 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. 1 plus 2 is equal to 3. So 2 plus 3 is equal to 5, and so on and so forth. That is Fibonacci sequence. Okay? Now, if we wanted to have a more than 10, for example, or we just simply write, for example, 8, na? File save. So a while ago, based on the given output, no, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, right? So this time, we replace. So therefore, it become 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? Okay. So how about another example? This time, actually, is also a, that will be a while, do while statement, no? So, actually, since we don't have file.text, so therefore we don't have an output for this one. But this will be a program if you wanted to get the file.text, no, in your from your laptop or from your desktop or from your folder and so on. Okay, so we will proceed to loop number 3. So this time we are now using for loop, no, for loop. So save as loop3.php. Okay, so as you can see here, square root, no? Square of 1 is 1, square of 2 is 4, square of 3 is 9, and so on and so forth, no? So this program, no, echo the square of the value. So since we declare that up to 10, no, less than or equal to 10, so it means to say that based on the given example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How about if we replace our condition into 8? So file save, then run. So as you can see here, up to 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 8. So square of 2 is 4, of course, because 2 times 2 is equal to 4. 3 times 3, 3 raised to 2 rather, that is 9. 4 raised to 2, that is 16, and so on and so forth. 8 raised to 2, that is 64. Okay? Example number 4, loop number 4. This time we have an array of fruits, no? So this will be an example of a for each, no? For each loop, because the for each loop is used to iterate over array variables. No? When you say array, we have as you can see, we have apple, banana, orange, and grapes. No? If you have an array variable and you want to go through each element of that array, the for each loop is the best choice. That's why we use here the for each statement. Okay? Now, if we're going to run this code, so what will happen? So that is loop, sorry. That is loop 4.php. Okay, so as you can see here, we just simply display the array value. Now, if you want to access array value, you can use the first version of the for each loop. So as what we have here, based on the given code, no, a while ago, we have this code, no. On the other hand, if you want to access both a key and a value, you can do it the employee example. Okay? So this will be the first one, no, the fruits, and this will be the other one for the employee variables. Okay, again, this will be the output for this given program. Okay, how about loop 5? This time, okay, we have here a sample uh, break, no? So this will be actually for loop statement. And we are using a break, okay? So in the first example, now we have for and a break at the same time. There are times when you might want to break out of a loop before it runs its course. No? This can be achieved easily using the break keyword. No? It will get you out of the current for each, while, do, while, or switch structure. You can also use break to get out of multiple nested loops by supplying a numeric argument. So for example, using break tree, no? Will break you out of 3 nested loops. However, you cannot pass a variable as the numeric argument if you are using a PHP version greater than or equal 5.4. So again, you cannot pass a variable as the numeric argument if you are using a PHP version greater than or equal to 5.4. Now, so based on the given example, no, another keyword that can interrupt loops in PHP is continue. No, later on I will give you an example. But prior to that, I just want you to run this program first. I just want I will going to run this program first for you to see the output. That is program loop 5. Sorry. So this will be the output for this given PHP code. As I mentioned earlier, we have a continue. Now, as I mentioned earlier, another keyword to interrupt loops in PHP is continue. Okay, a while ago, we're using break here, right? Break. But this time, we are using continue. However, this only skip the rest of the current loop iteration instead of a breaking out of the loop altogether. Just like break, you can also use a numerical value with continue to specify how many nested loops it should skip for the current iterations. Okay, so as you can see here, we use continue, but we use continue to here. Okay, so we just try to run again. That is loop number 6. Yeah, this will be the output. We have the simple continue and we have the multi-level continue. Okay, another example. Assuming we are now creating a simple ebook store. We are trying to of course, as you can see here, we have a login page. We have the client first name and we have the client last name. Okay? Then we have here the of course the first name, last name, the book 2, book 3 at the same time. Then we have here a table. A table under the table we have book description, quantity, and price. No? So, and at the same time, we define the book PHP with MySQL. It costs 500. No? We have introduction to C# programming. Cost is 1695. We have also Java programming for DSA or data structure and algorithm, and worth 1250. So, and of course, we have ebook 3. We are going to display the inputted value and computations. No? Of course, we have the price 1, price 2, price 3. Why? Because we have book 1, book 2, and book 3, right? So this time, we have also required to input the cash tender. How much do we pay? And at the same time, a computation using if, else if statement, no, for this available example. Okay? So now I just want to run for you to see the output. So we started, of course, from ebook, no? Ebook store. Okay? So as you can see here, the login page. So you're required to input, for example, is Marmelo, Abante. Then save. Then as you can see here, for example, I just want to check. I just want to buy PHP with MySQL. I just want to buy introduction to C programming. I just want to buy Java programming for DSA. This will be the cost now, then order now. So as you can see here, if we're going to total 15, 1695, 2750, that is 5945. So if we render, for example, 6,000, so therefore compute, then your change is 55. How about if I just want only to order the two value? So, okay, so this one, I don't want to order the C#, no? Then order now. So as you can see here, we just only PHP with MySQL, Java programming for DSA. So the total is 4,250. If I will pay 5,000 for example, no, then compute. So the change is 750. Okay? And this will be the code for that. Okay? Another example. Okay, example number 7. Okay, so that is also an example of a for loop statement. So again, this will be loop number 7. Loop 7.php. So as you can see here, no, the variable x displayed 8 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so for example, if we change the value into 0, for example, why is just only 7? Because we started from 1. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No? So, but if we started from 0, so file save. So, this will be the initialization actually. No, not just initialization, but this will be the counter start from 0. Okay? So, if we're going to run, press enter. So, that is, as you can see here, that is 7 times only because we started from 0. Okay? How about if we change also this one into 0? And at the same time, as you can see here, that is less than 8. Not less than or equal. No, it's just only less than 8, as you can see. So, file save. That is also another issue. Okay? So, this time, as you can see, we have 0, 1 to 7. Okay? But, if we are going to change this one into less than or equal to 8, so what will happen? Try to look with the output. So as you can see, we have 0 up to 8. So therefore, it display 9 times because we start from 0. Now, for example, if we start from 1, okay, file save, then run. So as you can see, that is 1 to 8, then therefore that is only 8 times. Okay, last example, loop number 8. This will be also an example of a Fibonacci sequence. But by this time, no, we have some declarations. No, this time we have an applications of our HTML, no? So we have here the use of the check, no? Clear, and so on. Okay, that will be loop number 7, example. So it's just not complicated, but we just simply try to use the codes that we've learned previously in our web system technology 1. 8, that's it. So as you can see here, for example, if I inputted 8, Fibonacci sequence. So as you can see here, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Because we started from 0, right? Okay? So how Fibonacci series runs, no? So 0 plus 1, 1. 1 plus 1, 2. 1 plus 2, 3. 2 plus 3, 5, and so on and so forth. If we are going to change the initial value, okay? So for example, instead of 0, we start from 1 and 1 here and 1. Okay, so try. We just try. What will happen if we change the, okay, then press enter. So for example, 8, Fibonacci. So we started from 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, why 9? Because we have a 501, 502, and a 5 plus 1. Okay, we started plus equals 1. Okay, I think that's it for today and for this lesson under control structure, covered, conditional, and repetition control structure. So good luck to your next to our next subject, which covered about PHP methods and functions. Good evening, good day, and thank you for attending our class. God bless everyone. Good luck to your asynchronous activity.